Okay, we're all full up now. Great.
Spoony, I hope you realize your lineup was going all the way through. Yeah. Yeah, I know.
I can't believe that SWAT thing has caught on. It's the bane of my existence now. There was this asshole at Borders. I went to a Borders bookstore and he walks up behind me. He recognized me as during my waster. And I'm like, woo! Do you not realize I will elbow check you for that?
You might have a flash grenade, man.
You ready to? Okay. So I'm going to say something, and then when I do that, just boo, and just like whatever. Okay. Say, not now. When I'm done saying my line. Okay. Ready? Okay. So here we go. You know what? Pokemon is for babies. I'm aware of this hat. Oh. Yeah, you threw it, it's mine now. Oh. Do it. Go to Tim Hortons, wherever you find Canadians are found.
You think they're worrying?
You should send that to them. What?
Do you think they're worrying outside now?
Worrying? Oh. Okay, yeah. You dirty bastard! See how you like it. I know, right? I want whoever. Look for the barefooted person.
Hunt him down.
Where are you at? All right, all right, all right. Welcome everyone to my panel where. I just know you'll hate it. No, this is if you've ever watched my convention coverage of E3, I'm usually pretty hard on Nintendo and a lot of other game series because if you know me, I'm very about innovation, changing. I actually don't like sequels all that much because
Go marry Yahtzee.
Yahtzee, yeah. The thing is, I hate sequels that don't change anything. It's the same game over and over and over and over again. I don't like playing full price for a game that I've already played before. So, probably the most notorious game that I am somewhat infamous for hating is The Legend of Zelda. And the swords come out. Look. I never had a problem with Legend of Zelda per se. I love the game, in fact. It's a great game. It's very, very well designed. And the problem is, they stopped making new Zeldas when they had Ocarina of Time on the N64. Since then, you could argue that there's been some slight changes, but the emphasis is on slight. So Legend of Zelda, I've always said it never really changed all that much. I mean, graphic updates, you know, Wind Waker had different types of graphics, but really fundamentally it was always the same type of puzzles, same type of weapons. Same. And I went to E3 and I was really railing on the fact that when the 3DS was launched, one of the launch titles was Ocarina of Time. Again? Again? Really? I mean, that game has been re-released like 5-6 times. How many times do you want to buy this game? Why didn't you demand something new from Zelda? And I get a lot of hate for that, probably rightfully so. I mean, they go, Ocarina of Time is a great game. Yeah, it was 15 years ago. Oh, what have you done for me lately? So I had a few ideas on, you know, how to, that's the second question, is even if they agree or disagree with me, they go, okay, smart guy, well, how would you fix Zelda? What do you do with Zelda to make it better or more entertaining? And I thought about it. Usually I blow it off and go, well, that's not my job. That's Nintendo's job. If Nintendo wants to pay me, okay. But that was waffling. That was a no answer. But I had a few ideas on how to fix Zelda. Make it an RPG. Woo! Well, I am astounded, really, that The Legend of Zelda, one of the most famous and pervasive fantasy RPGs of all time, never had an RPG. The closest it ever got was The Adventure of Link, which had a few RPG elements, like upping your fighting and magic. And you know what fans did to that? They hated it.
I love it, man. It's my favorite.
Right on, man. But I mean, it's kind of funny that the few times the series has ever innovated were the times that fans basically rebelled against it. Adventure of Link, almost nobody liked that. They're like, we want the old school Zelda. They want the top down. They want, what was the other time? This is probably a bad example. Was the CDI games, but we're not counting those. Another idea I had was, the setting is always very samey. It's always very fantasy. I thought you could go sci-fi with it. Really? I'm not kidding. What? A little bit. I mean, there's no reason why you couldn't replace a lightsaber for a Master Sword, why you couldn't have the hookshot become like a bionic commando arm. Hey, Final Fantasy did it. Right? Final Fantasy with 7 went to cloud. They had motorcycles. They had guns. Before that, you never saw that crap. It became a gunblade. Oh, right. I hated that. But it would have been something new. It would have been something flashy that E3 could have put over there. I mean, how lazy is it really to just re-release Ocarina of Time again? Graphic update, sure, but geez. By the way, how much of a dick move was that to have the 3DS price drop the day after, basically, Ocarina of Time shift?
Very dick move.
Yeah? How many did you guys buy Ocarina of Time and feel really, buy 3DS and Ocarina of Time on that day and feel really stupid when you got home and then the news came? Yeah, you did. How did I fix it? A movie. Why has there never been a Legend of Zelda movie? They did Super Mario, they friggin' did Tekken. They did all suck, but
Tekken was good.
It really boggles my mind that one of the most famous flagship properties of Nintendo never got made into a movie. I mean, just think of how it would have really revolutionized. It would have really helped. It really helped to invigorate. Oh. That bankrupted a company, yeah. Final Fantasy. You may not probably know this, but I've been kind of hard on Final Fantasy over here.
Deserved it.
Maybe so, but I actually said in one of my reviews that the series had become predictable, and in hindsight, that was really wrong. In fact, the series has kind of made a habit of reinventing itself pretty regularly. Like, basically every game, from 7 to 8 to 9 to 10 to 11, 12. Every game is radically different, very different settings, very different combat systems. And I was like, what do I do to fix Final Fantasy? Because this is a series that's really been in a downward spiral. I think even diehard fans who stuck with it through 8 and through 10 and even 10-2, when 12 came out, they turned on it. 12, fans were like, no. It's like an online, what? This is terrible. And, 12 was, and 13, everyone turned on 13. Did anybody really like 13? Raise your hand so we can,
It wasn't the best, but it was alright.
It was, okay, it was alright. No, I would disagree.
Okay.
But, I really think there's kind of even though the games have changed in this series, there's been always this kind of stagnation that's going on with Final Fantasy, and it's the storytelling is what really is bad about it. And so I realize you don't really need to reinvent the wheel when it comes to Final Fantasy. This is something that has kind of gotten by unpredictability or kind of there's a lot of elements that are key to Final Fantasy, but they always feel every time they invent a new combat system for 13 with the paradigms and stuff like that. It's all very complex and they're all very proud of it, but what it really comes down to, where people really, the only problem I had with 10, with 10-2, with 12, is the storytelling. The combat system, you can like them or not like them. You could say, I don't like paradigms. I don't like the way 12 handled the combat. But really what draws you to Final Fantasy, what always drew you with 4 and 6, some of the most famous RPGs ever made were the stories. The characters were awesome. All you got to do to save Final Fantasy is find a decent fantasy author. For God's sakes, find a decent sci-fi author and write a really good story. All you got to do is look at what Mass Effect is doing with storytelling. All you gotta do is look at what BioWare is doing with role-playing games, and that's the key word, is role-playing. And when you're playing Mass Effect, when you're playing Dragon Age, when you're playing Jade Empire, you are playing basically yourself in this hero's shoes. You make choices. You make relationships with characters. You act the way you want to act. Choice, role-playing, character. You like Shepard because you're playing him the way you want to play him. If you want to kick a some bitch out a window, they give you the option. That's role-playing. It's awesome. They added the most realistic part of multiplayer combat, where I never knew that in Afghanistan the Army Rangers were strapping C4 to remote-controlled cars. That's how shit gets done down there. It's amazing. Really, it's become a Michael Bay movie. The plot. I was actually really feeling Black Ops for a long time. That was a really good game up until I started scuba diving down underneath Cuba, where there was a secret Soviet missile lab that had been built completely underwater. It's a Bond movie, people. It's crazy. It's really becoming Moonraker with the shots in space and all that crap.
Moonraker's awesome.
So I was like. What's the next one? Is it Call of Duty Future Warfare or something like that?
Yeah.
You're not far off. You're really not. But how do I save Call of Duty? I could just go easily hire better writer, but seriously, they need to. What games like Call of Duty really did was get rid of recharging health. That was a big thing back in the day when like Halo did it and Call of Duty first started doing that. Medal of Honor, where if you got red jam smeared on your face, all you had to do was kind of hide behind a wall and suck your thumb for 10 seconds. then you had like a Wolverine healing factor, and you're like, I'm better, and then you run back out. It was kind of fun in the day when you had shields, but it doesn't really make sense. Now, I'm not going to call realism on finding health packs, but they got to do something else where it's kind of silly, where you can just get shot over and over and over again. And this is an instance where a guy like Tom Clancy could probably write a really cracking good story about like a Black Ops team and stuff like that. Fear.
I played the first one, I stopped.
You read my script, man. Make it scary, god damn it. First-person shooters are not scary. Especially not when your enemies in a horror game are just guys. There's like this scary girl from The Ring, right? But she never fights you. It's always like just these faceless dudes. And like, how do you make a horror game out of that? It's not possible. And then there's robots. And now we're starting to. I really don't understand that at all. Fear 3 is the worst. Fear 3 was such a colossal. If you think shooters aren't scary now, wait till you have a cooperative partner standing nearby helping you out. It was such a colossal blunder in every level of game design. It's always been based on jump scares, just having really loud noises leap out in front of you, and I never liked that. It's really that cheap.
The same with Dead Space.
Dead Space is a lot like that, yeah. I kind of had less of a problem with Dead Space because I'm a big whore for Warren Ellis, who kind of wrote the script for that. What was the question there?
Dead Space, you have to turn off the music so you don't have that stinking off. So the actual combat gets scary.
If you mute the TV. Oh, if you turn the music off, the stings don't. Oh, that's actually kind of interesting.
When something jumps out, all this footsteps. So if you're shooting, you don't hear it.
That's actually not. I just thought of one that I think I may have mentioned this in a previous panel, but Bioshock. Bioshock.
Oh, Spoony, I thought we went through this already.
We did. Sora. There you are. All right. If I haven't mentioned this,
I swear to God.
I'm going to pick on Bioshock again for those of you who didn't hear this again. Bioshock sucks. Holding back security.
Some person who made it had suffering from schizophrenia.
Bioshock is so... You can't lose Bioshock. It's like... If you die in Bioshock, you emerge from a phone booth 2 seconds later, 20 feet away. So, like, there's this big dude in a fucking armored suit who's got a drill in his hand. He gores you through the face. Instantaneously, you get out of the booth, and you're like, round 2. What must this drill dude be thinking? Like, how do I kill this guy? God damn it! It really becomes a Monty Python sketch after a while.